need to tell you about a beagle named Biscuit, 11 years old. Sweet dog. The kind that leans into your hand when you touch his ears. His owner Sarah brought him in on a Tuesday morning. He hadn't eaten in 3 days. He could barely stand. His gums were pale and his breath had this metallic edge to it, almost chemical. And if you've worked in nephrology long enough, you recognize that smell before the blood work even comes back. I ran a full panel. His BUN, blood urea nitrogen, the waste product kidneys are supposed to filter out, was over 100. Normal is 8 to 28. Over 100. His kidneys were operating at roughly 11% function. 90% of the damage was already done. Permanent. Irreversible. And Sarah sat across from me and said something I have heard more times than I can count in 22 years of practice. She said, "But he was fine. He was completely fine last month." He wasn't fine last month. He wasn't fine 6 months ago. His kidneys had been failing quietly, steadily, for what was likely well over a year. And the signs were there the entire time. In her kitchen. In his water bowl. In the way he walked to his bed at night. She saw all of it. She just didn't know what she was looking at. That is the single most dangerous thing about kidney disease in dogs. It is patient. It is quiet. And it waits. Here's what I need you to understand about how your dog's kidneys actually work, because this is where the whole thing unravels and nobody explains it properly. Think of your dog's kidneys like 2 coffee filters running 24 hours a day. When they're new, they catch everything. Waste products, excess minerals, toxins, filtered out, sent to the bladder, gone. Clean blood circulates back through the body. The system works beautifully, but those filters are biological tissue. They wear. Year after year of processing preservatives, metabolic waste, medications, environmental chemicals, the tissue breaks down. Microscopic holes develop. Things that should be filtered start slipping through into the bloodstream, and things that should pass through start getting trapped. Now here's the part that makes kidney disease so uniquely cruel in dogs. When one section of kidney tissue fails, the remaining healthy tissue doesn't shut down. It compensates. It works harder. It picks up the slack. And it does this so effectively that your dog behaves completely normally. Eats normally. Plays normally. Greets you at the door the same way. The blood work can even come back within normal range because those remaining nephrons, the tiny filtering units, are running at double or triple capacity to maintain appearances. The body is performing a remarkable act of compensation. And it will keep performing that act until roughly 60 to 70% of total kidney function is permanently destroyed. That number comes from the International Renal Interest Society. 60 to 70% gone before your dog shows obvious symptoms. Before the blood work flags anything. Before your vet catches it on a routine visit. That means the window where this disease is still manageable, still responsive to dietary changes and intervention. That window is open only while the signs are subtle. Only while they're easy to miss. Only while you're telling yourself everything is fine. I've spent 22 years in veterinary internal medicine. I've treated over 4,000 dogs with kidney-related conditions. And the question that follows me home from the clinic, the one I cannot shake, is always the same. How did it get this far? How did this dog sit in a living room for a year with 3 visible warning signs and nobody recognized what was happening? The answer is always the same. Nobody taught them. So let me teach you. The first thing that changes, and this is the one that hides in plain sight, is water. Your dog starts drinking more. Not dramatically more. Not gulping frantically from the bowl. Just more. You're filling the bowl a little more often. You notice a bigger puddle on the floor around the dish. Maybe you're letting them out one extra time at night. And you think, well, it's been warm. Or, they were running around today. You explain it away because it doesn't look like a problem. It looks like thirst. But here's what's actually happening. As kidney tissue degrades, the kidneys lose the ability to concentrate urine. They can't hold on to water efficiently. So the body produces more urine, dilute, pale urine, in larger volumes. And because your dog is losing more fluid, they drink more to compensate. More urine. More thirst. More urine. A cycle that accelerates so gradually you normalize it week by week. There's a clinical threshold. A healthy dog drinks roughly 40 to 60 milliliters of water per kilogram of body weight per day. If your dog consistently exceeds 100 milliliters per kilogram per day, that's polydipsia, excessive thirst. and it's one of the earliest measurable signals of kidney dysfunction. For a 40-pound dog, roughly 18 kilograms, that threshold is about 1.8 liters per day. Here's what I want you to do, and it costs nothing and takes 30 seconds. For the next 3 days, measure the water you put in the bowl. At the end of each day, measure what's left. Write the number down. 3 days. That's it. I had a 9-year-old golden retriever named Duke whose owner only came in because she realized she was refilling the water bowl 3 times a day instead of once. That single observation, not a blood test, not an ultrasound, a woman paying attention to a water bowl, led to early detection at a stage where we could still intervene. Duke is 12 now. He's doing beautifully, and it started with someone noticing the water. The second change is harder to see because it disguises itself as something else entirely. Your dog's appetite shifts. Not disappears. Shifts. They eat slower. They leave a few bites behind. They sniff the bowl, walk away, come back 10 minutes later. They're less excited at mealtime. And you think they're just getting picky, or they are bored with this food, or they're getting older and slowing down. Every one of those explanations feels reasonable. None of them are the explanation you should be worried about. Research published in the Journal of Veterinary Internal Medicine found that 84% of dogs with advancing kidney disease showed appetite changes as a primary sign. 84%. But in the early stages, it doesn't present as refusal. It presents as indifference, as hesitation, as a dog that used to inhale their food in 90 seconds, now taking 5 or 6 minutes to finish half the bowl. What's happening internally is this. As the kidneys lose filtering capacity, waste products, especially urea, accumulate in the bloodstream. This creates a persistent low-grade nausea. Not enough to make your dog vomit. Not enough to make them refuse food entirely. Just enough to make eating feel unappealing. A subtle, constant unease that builds so slowly your dog adapts to it and you adapt to watching it. I saw a 10-year-old German Shepherd named Kona whose owner described 3 months of picky eating. 3 months. That's 90 days of a kidney sending distress signals through the only language it had, reduced appetite, and 90 days of an owner interpreting those signals as preference. By the time Kona came to me, her kidneys were at roughly 30% function. 3 months. 90 dinners. The signal was on the table every single night. Now, before I tell you about the third sign, which in my experience is the most commonly dismissed of all, I want to mention something briefly. I've put together a complete guide that goes much deeper than what a single video allows. Every early warning sign, the exact blood work values to request, dietary changes that actually protect kidney function, supplement dosages by body weight. The link is in the description. If what I'm sharing today is useful to you, that guide takes it significantly further. The third change, and this is the one that genuinely breaks my heart because it's the easiest to explain away. Your dog's energy becomes inconsistent. Not gone. Inconsistent. They still greet you at the door. They still want walks. But the walks are shorter. The recovery takes longer. They sleep deeper in the afternoon. They're slower getting up from the floor. And you look at them and think, well, they're 11. They're getting old. That's what happens. Sometimes that's true. And sometimes the kidneys are poisoning the blood so gradually that the body is running on fumes 3 days out of 5 and compensating hard enough on the other 2 to fool you into thinking everything is normal. When kidney filtration declines, uremic toxins accumulate systemically. The body doesn't feel sick. It feels heavy, tired, slightly off. Not every day. Not even most days, at first. Your dog has 2 good days and 1 sluggish day. Then 2 good days and 2 sluggish days. The ratio shifts so slowly that you adjust your expectations without even realizing you've done it. The new baseline replaces the old one and you forget what the old one looked like. A 4-year-old whippet named Stella was brought in because her owner noticed something odd. During the work week, Stella seemed fine, excited for walks, ate normally. But on weekends, when her owner was home all day and actually present to observe, she noticed Stella slept most of the afternoon and hesitated before climbing stairs. Weekday energy masked what weekend observation revealed. Testing showed early kidney damage. That weekend awareness caught what a busy schedule would have buried. When is the last time your dog had the energy they had a year ago? Not the energy they have on a good day. The energy they had on an average day, 12 months ago. Sit with that question honestly. The answer matters. Here's what connects all three of these: increased thirst, subtle appetite changes, inconsistent energy. They look like three unrelated things. They're not. They are three surface expressions of the same underlying process: kidneys losing their ability to filter waste, balance fluids, and maintain the body's internal chemistry. Three symptoms, three different doors, all leading to the same room. And that room has a clock in it. Because by the time standard blood work catches obviously abnormal values, 60 to 70% of function is already permanently gone. The intervention window doesn't open when the crisis arrives. It opens now, in the quiet months, while the signs are still whispering. Biscuit, the beagle I started with. After diagnosis, we moved fast. Low phosphorus therapeutic diet, omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA from wild-caught fish oil at therapeutic doses. For his weight, roughly 500 mg EPA and 400 mg DHA daily. Subcutaneous fluids at home 3 times a week to support hydration. Phosphorus binders with every meal to reduce the workload on whatever kidney tissue remained. Monitoring every 6 weeks. 3 months later, Sarah sent me a video. Biscuit was walking across a backyard, nose down, tail up, following a scent trail through the grass. Not running, not fetching, just being a beagle again, doing the thing beagles do. She called me that afternoon and her voice cracked and she said 5 words. Why didn't anyone tell me? Why didn't anyone tell me? I hear that sentence in my sleep. It's the reason I sit in front of this camera. Because the information exists. The research is published. The warning signs are visible. And still, dog after dog comes into my clinic at 11% function with an owner who had no idea what they were watching happen in their own living room for the past year. So I'll say it as clearly as I know how. Measure the water bowl. 3 days. Write it down. If your dog is exceeding 100 milliliters per kilogram per day, bring that number to your vet. Watch dinner. Not from the other room. Sit there. Time it. How long does it take? How much is left? Has that changed over the past few months? And be honest about their energy. Not their best days. Their average days. Compare this month to 6 months ago. If the baseline has shifted and you've been adjusting to it without questioning it, that's worth a conversation with your veterinarian. These are not exotic tests. They are not expensive procedures. They are a woman noticing a water bowl, a man timing his dog's dinner, a family admitting that the walk used to be longer. That is the level of observation that separates early detection from late-stage crisis. That is the clinical reality I see every single week.